Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline number 166.
Wow.
Absolutely incredible. Do you know that is, if you add all that up, it's over 10 days that we've spent together on this show?
That's it?
That's it.
166
10,
shows.
24 hours. It's 200,
Okay.
250 hours.
That's pretty amazing.
It's amazing.
It's actually more than that because each episode is an hour and a half.
I know.
So it'd be 325 hours.
No.
I just made that up.
It's 90 minutes.
I was hoping nobody was going to correct me.
It's a 90 minutes. Right, Pace doesn't know math.
I don't
All
know
right?
math, but I know how to make stuff
He
up.
just knows. He knows how to do creative deals. That's it. You don't need to know math, right?
No.
Well, I always say the dumbest people make the most money.
I know.
Right?
Why is that, though?
I think it's because we're not afraid of taking action.
Yeah.
We're not afraid of
I
going
like how
to the
he
next level.
immediately said we.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Who's dumb?
Yeah.
I take action.
This is our biggest live audience, by the way.
Guys, we have
ever.
look at this.
Shout
Oh,
out,
my
live
gosh. Yeah, come
audience.
on.
So
Absolutely.
in 2018 and 19, we had
Mm-hmm.
a door knocking team, and our best door knocker, we did 18, 19, and 20 deals 3 months in a row. And it was because we hired this new door knocker.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody kept coming over to our office saying, man, what is happening? What is happening? What's going on? I heard you guys are locking up all these doors, knocking and locking.
Mm-hmm.
And what was our secret weapon? Did anybody know what our secret weapon was? It was a kid who was like very, very far on the spectrum with autism.
Sure.
And he had a disability, couldn't even drive.
Mhm.
His mom had to drop him off in the neighborhoods to knock doors.
Yeah.
But he was so obsessed with real estate that he's like, I'm going to be on your team. I don't care what it takes. He made more money than anybody else on our team because he didn't have a mechanism in his brain that told him to overthink.
Sure.
That's it.
I know.
And he would do magic tricks on people's doors instead. Like, it's just amazing that just showing up and talking to people
Yep.
is all this business really comes down to.
Conversations and offers. We talked about it all weekend. Conversations and offers. Boil it all the way down there. Let that be the engine of your business, and then you get to do all these incredible opportunities to hold these properties or to lend money, which we're going to talk about today. Which that's the top of the pyramid. The top of the pyramid is being the bank.
That is interesting that you say that, because right before the show, you told Uncle Lanza, who's
Mhm.
on the show. Who knows Uncle Lanza in here?
Uncle Lanza.
He's very, very popular. He's one of the biggest go-givers in our community and helps so many people. I met him. He was probably student number 3 in Sub 2 3 years ago. Our 3-year anniversary is coming up next week.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Awesome.
3 years, Sub 2. Boom, 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 boom. One of the biggest go-givers. He does cash deals, fix and flips. He lends money. I JV with him. He JVs with other people all over the country. But you said something to Uncle Lanza right before the show started. You said, man, being a lender is the top of the pyramid.
Mhm.
And I was talking to Jerry Norton about 6 months ago. I go, bro, because when you're having these private conversations with your buddies, what do we talk about?
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah. Business. Yeah.
And so I said, Jerry, what's the end all be all for Mr. Jerry Norton? More kids? What are you going to do? What's the story? He says, I'm going to sell everything and just be a lender.
That's it.
Why? Why is that so cool?
Well, listen, the lender wins. The lender gets to look at all the best deals. The lender gets to go in and everybody else is doing the work. The lender is providing the opportunity to do that work. So without the lender, it's really tough to grow a really big business if you're only using your own cash.
Right.
So you're just leveraging, other people's other people's money to be able, and capital and resources to be able to go out there and keep the machine running.
Yeah.
If not, then you're just doing one at a time, and it's tough to scale that way.
So we have a hard money lender here in town named Frank West Capital.
Yep. Gus
Okay.
Brown.
Gus Brown, shout out.
Yep.
Did you go to high school with him?
I did.
Whose arms are bigger though?
Oh, mine way bigger. What's up, Gus? Come at me, bro.
So Gus Brown, his family sold Brown and Brown Chevrolet.
Yep.
They made about 50 mil on that transaction, and they started lending that money out in hard money. Now, what's cool about Arizona, for all you guys out there that don't live in Arizona, you should just move to Arizona for this one reason alone. Okay. We don't have hard money points here.
Mm-mm.
Who does not know what a hard money point is? Oh, would love it. There's always got to be one. Okay. A hard money point. When you go to borrow money from a hard money lender, you say, let's say I want to fix and flip, right? And I want to buy a house for $200,000 and I want to flip it and sell it for $350,000, right? The hard money lender is going to charge me 12%. Let's say hard money, right? So what's 12% on a $200,000 loan? Anybody know? It's $2,000 a month. Okay, so they're going to make $2,000 a month in interest. That's great. But that's not really where most hard money lenders make their money, believe it or not. They make their money on charging points up front. So the average is 2 points up front. What are points? Points means 2% or 1 point is 1%. We want 2 points of the entire loan up front. So just to start the loan, you got to give them $4,000 just to start the loan before you then have to give them $2,000 in hard money payments every single month. Then a lot of them charge, what else? What are some other things they charge for?
The doc fees,
Fee,
processing fees,
$9.97, doc fee type of thing.
Yeah.
And why do they do that? Why do they do that? I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a breakdown because Brent said something kind of cool. This is why hard money lenders do that. The 12% that they're charging does not go to them typically. They make a very small percentage of that 12%. Where does the 12% money go that they make? Who knows? Goes to
all of us.
Yep.
All of us.
Does it?
Yeah.
What, for the wholesale fee or what?
No. What I'm saying is a private money lender is going to go and they're going to essentially crowdsource.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
And they're going to raise funds up. They're going to get private investors. Now, typically it's probably accredited investors, most of them. And they have minimums. Typically it's $100,000 is a minimum that you put in, but then they give you 8 to 10% just for putting your money in with them. And then they lend it out for 12 to 14%. So they get a little bit of the arbitrage there, but
not a lot.
The bread and butter is the fees.
And so what? Yeah, exactly. So they cover the girls in their office doing all the paperwork. That's covered with the doc fee, the administrative fee, and then the 2 points up front. That's the juicy part. They get those 2 extra points up front. So here's what's cool about Gus Brown. So I was going to office with him when I sold my Home Investors franchise about 5 years ago. I was going to office with him down in Gilbert. So I sat down there for about a month and I was watching them, and they're cranking out maybe 3 or 4 wholesale deals a day. I'm like, damn, y'all are marketing like crazy. And they go, actually, we don't market at all. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, our money does all the marketing for us.
Yep.
So hard money lenders, what happens is all these fix and flippers come to them and they go, hey, will you lend on this deal that I'm going to go and fix and flip? And they go, yeah, we'll give you 2 options. Option 1, we'll lend you money. Or option 2, just wholesale it to us for $5,000 and we'll go flip it ourselves. The hard money lender becomes the vacuum of all these amazing opportunities, and you control everything. You don't have to market. You don't have to cold call. You don't have to negotiate. You don't have to do anything. You just have to be the person that has the money.
Who has the best buyers lists?
Gus Brown.
Right.
Hard money lender.
Hard money lender. They know who's doing the real business.
Yes.
Right? So you become the lender. I'm just telling you, it's the top of the pyramid.
It is the top of the pyramid.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, all the banks own the best real estate. You ever notice that?
yes.
Banks run this, this whole machine.
How does a wholesaler, why do wholesalers need hard money lenders then? Let's talk about that. For people that are trying to be in wholesale, why would a wholesaler need a hard money lender? If I'm not planning to fix and flip, What does a hard money lender bring to me in value as a wholesaler?
Go ahead.
Well, so we use it as transactional funding. If we need a double close for whatever reason. So a couple different reasons why we will do a double close. And we're doing one right now. And usually I use my own funds, but if I need to, I'll go in with a hard money lender and just close it out, because I don't want anybody else to know about that deal. I don't want to put it out to anybody. I want to get it closed as soon as possible, because as soon as I'm on that deed, nothing can happen, right? For an example, we put out a fourplex a couple years ago, and it was a smoking deal. I mean, we were making $80K, $85K.
I was just going to ask if I could buy it, and then I realized you already
It was a while ago.
Dang
it was a while ago. I would have done it. We put it out there, and one of the buyers on our list was the agent that knew the owner. And the agent that knew the owner was like, why didn't you list it with me? I could have got you so much more on the market, which is fine. He didn't want to list it. Like, that wasn't the issue, but he saw how much we were putting it out for, and he wanted half of that. He was like, you need to give me 40 grand more if you're going to try to make that. He was cool. He was a real estate investor. He gets it. He understands that we need to make a profit, but he didn't want us to make that much profit.
Right.
If I would have closed it, paid the extra few grand to close it, pay the title and escrow fees, pay the transactional funder, I could have put it right back on the market.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so whenever there's really, really, really big spreads, unless I have a very specific cash buyer that I want to bring it to, I'm going to close it, and then we're going to either put it on the market or put it out to our list.
And also, it will help as legislation comes out. Like, you've got Illinois, Ohio, and a couple of other places, Arizona specifically. You now have to state to your seller that you intend to wholesale that property. Yep. So if that's something you can't overcome as a negotiator, a good closer, you might want to look at double closing. So having a hard money lender. So Gus Brown is a little expensive. Does anybody else, have you ever used Gus Brown, Ingrid? How much do you think Gus Brown charges? 18%. But why?
I know why.
Because he'll fund the entire transaction.
100%. Everybody in this room, if you were to do deals in Arizona, you have an unlimited bank account to buy properties with. But it comes with an 18% tag, right? Which is 1.5. So when you're thinking about it, it's interest only too. Oh. So it's like 1.5% every month that you're paying back for those deals.
Do you guys know the story of the guy that filed bankruptcy on me about 5 years ago?
He was
he was using Gus Brown's money.
Yep.
I'm now having PTSD right now. It's amazing. I'm having hot flashes. Just kidding. But this is a really great example. You said you basically have an unlimited bank account.
Yeah.
And so that's what Voldemort did. Voldemort went out. He went to Gus Brown and he used the unlimited bank account, was buying property. This is what Voldemort's business model was. Not to deviate, but this is interesting. He goes, all right, I want to be Keegley.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be the guy that never turns down a wholesale deal. So if you sent him a deal, he said yes every time. And he just got to be known as the guy that would just take anything and say yes. Terrible deals.
Didn't matter.
So like 70% of the deals he could wholesale and he could make some money.
Yep.
But 30% of the deals he couldn't. So what did he do with those 30%? He called Gus Brown, goes, I need to use that unlimited bank account that you just referenced, closed on the deal, and then called his good friend Pace and said, hey, Pace, I got 3 houses for you this week that I need you to renovate. And the market was trending upward. And so he's thinking, well, if Pace renovates these and uses his money, then I don't have to come out of pocket on construction costs. And then when I sell those, I'll get Pace paid back. Well, guess what? Those 3 turns into 6, and then 6 turns into 64. Next thing you know, this guy owes me money on like 100 and something houses. Took 4 years to get to that point, but that's how he owed me $1 million. He filed bankruptcy on Gus Brown, $16 million. Yeah, Gus had to take all those properties back, and then Gus got his money back.
He did fine.
He did just fine.
I mean, it wasn't a good process. No lender wants to take the properties.
No. But the thing about the money is that it is secured by real property, right?
Right.
So that's where you're safe, right? And when you're doing that, you want to make sure that you're not lending out more than that property's worth. So in that sense, it's a headache, but you're going to be safe in the long run.
I think that's the tough thing for wholesalers is that they don't realize that having a hard money lender in your pocket is also ammunition to help your buyers close deals.
Mm-hmm.
Because have you ever had a buyer on a deal say, sorry, my lender's taking a long time?
Yep.
Or, hey, my lender can't fund the full purchase on this deal. And then you come in and go, here's a hard money lender. It either flushes out their excuses
100%.
and shows the truth, or B, it solves the problem.
100%. And I think a lot of states, I mean, you'd have to go back and talk to the hard money lenders in your areas. Just see that as you build a longer relationship with them and a longer resume of success, they start giving you more and more and more percentages up to that 100%.
Oh, yeah.
They can lend you anything. You know what I mean? So I think if you get one, you have to get really good deals, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And two, the more success that you have and the more business you bring to hard money lenders and private money lenders, the more they're going to lend to you on a percentage basis.
It's like being a teenager and going to your parents and saying, can I have a sleepover tonight? And they go, no, but you can stay out till 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
If you come home at 11:30, do you think your parents are going to be super pumped about that? No, but if you come home at 10:30, guess what? Next week you'll go, hey, can I stay out till 11:30? You can start pushing the limits a little bit, right? Keep pushing the limits.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with hard money lenders.
Yep.
Our hard money lenders do all sorts of crazy things for us.
You will also find a lot of hard money lenders are wholesaling these deals.
Yes.
Right? Because,
the smart ones.
Right. So they go out and they look for these opportunities and they're the buyer and they know that they can close, but they wholesale most of it. And so I had a great relationship with Chris Iman for years and years and years. And he would take all our deals and sell them. And he's like, anytime you need 100% financing, I'll charge you $1,000 and that's it.
Yeah.
But that's because we did a lot of business together. You know what I mean?
Same thing with me and Chris Iman. The first big 50 home development I ever did,
mm-hmm.
I went to the owners of Batch Leads and they go, hey, we got these 50 lots. We don't know what to do with them.
Yeah. Whitman.
Yep. I restructured it on seller finance. And then I went to Iman and I go, hey, I got these 50 acres, but I don't have any money. And he goes, well, if you make me 33% owner, I'll fund the whole entire transaction.
Yeah.
So I then go, okay, well, we don't have mobile homes. He goes, well, I have a buddy that does mobile homes. So I went to the guy with the mobile homes and I said, hey, can you bring all the mobile homes at no cost to us until we sell them to the buyer? And he goes, sure, if you give me 33%. And all of that was based on a relationship with Chris Iman. Chris Iman, because I had done 100 deals plus with him, was like, yeah, Pace is good for it. He'll take care of it. No matter, even if things go sour, Pace will make sure things are taken care of. Which actually brings me to a new topic. Okay. I brought this up in January of 2022. I said, if you guys are borrowing money from people in 2022 and 2023, private money lenders on fix and flips, or if you are somebody lending money on fix and flips, be very careful because the market is trending downward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think we're in a crash. I don't think we're in a spiral, but it's definitely trending downward. So somebody just said, how can I become a private money lender? Well, that's pretty easy. Like, anybody in here looking for a private money lender? The words are always yes. Are you kidding me? I'm not even going to raise my hand. You idiot. Everybody's looking for a private money lender. So the question of how do I find a private money lender or how do I become a private money lender is we're not going to answer that. How do I find a private money lender? Lanza, do you have any advice on how to find private money lenders?
Yeah, I mean, a few things. First of all, like within your community, I know we have the TTP community, we have the Astro community, we have the Sub2 community. In all those communities, there are private money lenders in those communities.
Yep.
So really, honestly, for me, just within those communities, I've been able to private money lend and find private money lenders within those communities. Outside of that, family and friends, just be careful that you don't get yourself in trouble.
Yeah.
And then just what we do is, right, social media, everything we do, just let people know that you do real estate, right? Like I could be sitting, the dentist that I work with, he invests in real estate, right? My dentist invests in real estate. So I talk to him and say, hey, you know, what projects are you doing? Are you interested in investing in projects? So there's lots of people with money sitting out there right next to you that you wouldn't expect it, that you can.
So I just went to One Stop Nutrition on my way here.
Sweet.
It's good shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So I go there and where you throw your trash away, there's the trash can that flips up and down. It's like, says trash. On top of it, there's like 50 different businesses and their business cards.
Yep.
Right. And part of me just wanted to take all those business cards and then just push them into the trash. Why? Because business cards are trash nowadays. It's 2023, guys. And here's what I was doing. I was going to do a video, but I thought I'd be a little bit weird, like filming the trash can. And I was looking at their business cards, and not one of them had their Instagram handle or YouTube handle on their business card.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yet they're taking the time to go, all right, I'm going to go online. I'm going to print business cards. I'm going to get in my car, take these business cards over to One Stop Nutrition and probably 100 other locations. And they'll get very little business from that, but they spent thousands of dollars and a ton of time doing that.
Yeah.
Yet they won't talk about what they're doing on Instagram or social media.
Right. They want to be reactive.
They want to be reactive, right? Which is like it's more of like a direct mail campaign.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll spend a lot of money hoping that somebody's going to call me.
It's not even that. Yeah.
It's not even
it's
that.
A hope. It's a hope. You put your stuff out there and somebody's going to just grab it and send you business at some point. But
it is the craziest thing that when people see that you are active in this business, you will be overwhelmed with opportunities.
Oh yeah. You're a magnet.
A magnet.
I mean, everybody here knows it. The more proactive you are, the more conversations that you have, the more success that you have, people want to be around you. But it's the success, the achievement part of it, it's science. It's just talking to a certain amount of people. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So how are you going to do that? Are you going to reach out to them, or are they going to reach out to you? And you just have to figure that those metrics out, and then the achievement of finding the opportunities and getting the income's there.
Right.
And then you just have to match that up with your income is equal to the amount of value you provide. That's it. Your earned income is equal to the amount of value you provide. And so how do you go out every single day and provide $10,000 worth of value?
Talk to a lot of people.
You got to talk to a lot of people. And then you got to build a company that talks to a lot of people.
Yeah.
If you
solves a lot of problems. Yeah.
Mic drop. Now, what is the difference, Uncle Lanza? What is the difference between a private money lender and a hard money lender for some of the people that are new in here? Anybody not know the difference between the two? Raise your hand. Love it.
Great question.
You're the man.
So a hard money lender is somebody that has put together a fund. They were talking, Brent and Pace were talking about that earlier. And they basically, that fund is lending money to people, but it's like a company institution, right? You're, like they said, you're paying points. You're going through applications. Like I've done hard money loans, right? They check me out. They check out my credit score. They check out how many flips I've done, all those kind of things. A private money lender is just an individual that you have a relationship with that will loan you money. That's about as simple as it is.
Yep.
Now, if you're a good private money lender, you still will do some of the things that a hard money lender will do. One of which is
I was looking around the audience to see if any of my private money lenders are in here.
Oh.
Are there? I don't know.
No. Why is that? None of my private money lenders in here. That's messed up.
They're lounging right now.
They're chilling.
They're chilling.
They got all that.
They're getting all
money.
those returns.
Yes.
So a private money lender is it's a private individual that you have a relationship with that will loan you money, and you can negotiate whatever terms you want. We talked about points. We talked about interest rates. You can negotiate no points. You can negotiate whatever interest rate you want to negotiate. It still is secured against the property, but that's basically the difference. I would say working with both hard money lenders and private money lenders, it's a whole lot easier to work with private money lenders.
Sure.
Yeah. A lot more massageable. Now,
a lot more flexible.
There's another thing that private money lenders bring to the table. This is like in the Gator method that I talk about a lot. Angie and Don Milanazzo, right here in the audience, up here in Colorado, or you guys live in Colorado. We have a deal going in Corpus Christi right now, right? What did I bring to the table in that transaction?
Your pretty face. You brought credibility for us to get all the money that we need.
See the mic?
Okay. I sponsored a loan, right? Okay. So a private money lender or even a Gator in this situation can bring other resources to a deal other than just money, right? Because sometimes there's deals that maybe a specific, when you guys are getting big like commercial loans, especially when you get into like multifamily, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but in single family, they don't care what your net worth is in single family, right? But when you get into multifamily and commercial property, they're going to check your net worth. Mm-hmm. They're actually going to go, oh, you want a loan for $5 million? Well, you need to have a net worth as equal or greater than $5 million. And that's problematic for a lot of people. They're like, oh my gosh, I need a sponsor for a loan because I don't have $5 million. If I did have $5 million, why the hell would I be asking you for $5 million?
Right.
So you can also get private money lenders to give you their credit or their credibility. Yeah. Okay, you'll need that stuff along your journey. You guys have a really cool project right now. Can we get them the mic? I wonder. Let's try that out.
Yeah.
Do we have the mic? Let's try the mic out for the first time.
We got the camera to put on.
Shout out.
Look at this.
Okay, so what is the project that I
Can you
sponsored?
Stand up?
Yeah, stand up, guys.
Standing up.
Just
kidding.
That was really good.
That was good.
What is the project in Corpus Christi?
So it's a 3,000 square foot house for veterans that are substance abuse, that kind of stuff. But it's just for veterans in that house, and we have an operator in place that will do all the business, and we will just support them with owning the real estate.
Pretty special. You guys already have it rented out?
Yeah, we do. Yep.
You guys are gonna have a ribbon cutting with the mayor of Corpus Christi?
Yep.
Awesome.
Isn't that freaking cool?
Awesome.
We want to do a women's one. We want to do the same thing, but for just women.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to do another one in Corpus Christi?
Yeah, that's actually where it's at.
Are you going to let me sponsor that one
Yeah.
too?
No, we don't need you anymore.
Dang it.
Just kidding. We always
That's
need
okay.
you, Pace.
I'm okay with that. You guys
you.
are great leaders. You should ascend, and then you guys should sponsor other people's loans.
Yep,
That's how
we
it
need
works. That's how it works. We all need each other's help. So Graydon has a great question here. He says, I have a private money loan or private money lender for $115,000 on a 9-unit. We'll have the promissory note and deed of trust for protection. Okay. We should jump into that for a little bit. Like, how does a private money lender or hard money lender protect themselves? What's the mechanics behind that? We'll touch on that in a little bit. They are also seeing if I can collateralize a duplex I have if I default, or they can take over the deal for safety. Boom. Yes, this is what's so great. So if you are a private money lender and you are lending money to somebody for their first time, they've never taken money ever from a private money lender. First and foremost, I would pump the brakes and say, this is probably not a great idea. Yeah. What I do, okay, for example, is I tell people, somebody comes to me and goes, hey, Pace, I need to borrow money on this deal for a down payment towards my hard money loan so I can fix and flip this. I go, great. How many projects have you done? They go, oh, well, this is my first project. And I go, that's exciting. I will not be loaning money to you.
I'm very happy for you.
And they go, you don't want to help? You don't want to help newbies? Oh, I mean,
yeah, if anybody does, you guys
okay. So what I do is I direct them to somebody else that has done fix and flips in that area and go partner with them on your first deal. Get the experience. Then I will lend on your second deal without somebody involved. But you need to make sure that you have a buddy system when you're borrowing or lending money. Okay. Because what will happen, I had to take over 2 loans last year. Okay. I loaned money to people last year that their flips did not turn out. And guess what? Now I got a property 3,000 miles away over in Miami that I have to now take over. Okay. And this wasn't last year. This was 2021, the end of 2021. And that's when I announced to everybody in 2022, be very careful lending money. Make sure you are prepared to take over houses if you're going to lend money. If you're not prepared to take over houses, then don't lend money.
Well, and I think it's really important to understand if you want to get into fixing and flipping and you want to get into development or you want to get into a situation where you buy a property to do like a BRRRR method or whatever else, getting your first private money investor is really important. But then after that, it gets a lot easier. But to get those first private money lenders, you have to have some track record. You have to have some ability to explain that you understand how to evaluate a really good deal. For example, Tyrone and Omari, who are on the stage, were incredible on a panel at the summit on Saturday. They came to me 2 years ago, and they're like, we've wholesaled like 100 properties. Yeah. We've fixed and flipped like 5 using our own funds. Nobody will give us money. Like nobody will lend us any money. And I was like, how much money do you need? And they're like, well, we just want to work with $100,000 and then build from there. So I looked at exactly what they've done. I was like, show me your deals that you have right now. Show me what's going on. They pulled it up instantly. Wow. Right? They're like, we'll sign whatever, we'll do whatever. So I lent them the first $100,000, did great with that. Lent them $200,000, did great with that. And then heeding your warning and knowing what was going on last year, I was like, okay, I'm going to need that money back this year, and I'm going to do something else with it. But now they're able to raise other funds locally.
Yes.
Because they've already raised funds. They have the paperwork. They can show this is the return that I already gave to somebody. If you could show somebody that you get a return, that's all the credibility that you need typically. Right. And just the ability to go out and talk to a lot of people and raise these funds. And that's how you start really getting into the big raises where you're getting $1 million, you're getting $2 million, you're getting $3 million, you're doing those things. And I do the same thing with Luke Rodfold. I lend a lot to Luke Rodfold, and he gives me incredible returns. He gives all of his investors incredible returns. But he started with wholesale.
Right.
He started with talking to people. He started being on the phones 3 hours a day, every single day, minimum, for 3 years to have that confidence, to have that track record. He's still on the phones now. You know what I mean? And he's raised millions and millions and millions and millions, and they're doing unbelievable developments and incredible, really cool Airbnbs and all these things. And he has none of his own money into it.
Right.
None of it.
No.
And then he just refinances at the time for the ones that he wants to keep, and he sells the
playing
ones.
Monopoly, man, all day, every day. It's all you're doing all day.
That's it.
Andres Ordonez, he says, no track record, no money? Well, here's the thing. I hate to break it to you. I know we talk a lot about you can get into this business with no experience and nothing, and that is absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to go out with no experience and no credibility and go out and raise $1 million. Unless you're freaking incredible, and you are just magic silver tongue, and you just make everything up. I don't know how you're going to do that.
But if you're magic silver tongue, you've learned that, and you're probably already successful.
There you go. So here's the goal. I was Sunday. I decided, all right, I'm going to take like 4 hours to myself. It's been like maybe a year since I just go, I need 4 hours where nobody talks to me.
What'd you do?
I listened to 2 podcasts and I cleaned my garages out and I did a whole bunch of fun, like blue collar dude stuff, swung some hammers, worked out, did some stuff. I listened to a podcast with Lex Friedman.
Mm-hmm.
It was Mr. Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. They didn't talk about YouTube at all. It was so freaking phenomenal. Lex Friedman is one of the best interviewers of all time.
I think he is the best.
He's so good, dude.
I thought he was terrible when I first listened to him. I was like, God, this guy is so boring.
But he gets everything out of everybody.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's really good.
There's so many things that when you hear it from a billionaire, even though you know it's already true, it just puts a stamp of approval. And this is what he says. Lex Friedman says, so Mr. Beast, what would you tell your younger self? Like the reason why you've been successful, is it because you figured out these things? And he's like, and Mr. Beast said, does anybody know what Mr. Beast said? What was his number one reason he was successful? You all know the answer. And it's one of those answers that when you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, that's true. But it's not that prophetic.
Focus?
Nope. He said it was finding people that were one step ahead of me and becoming friends with them. That was it. That was literally it. And he says, when I was 16, 17 years old, I knew I wanted to do this. So I found people that were already doing it, right? This is why we've built a community. This is why we built an ecosphere where people can hang out and do things together. So when you don't have a track record and you don't have money, standing next to somebody who does have a track record and does have money gives you credibility, and you get to learn by osmosis. And you take that learning curve from 10 years down to 10 months or maybe 2 years, whatever it is. What I also was interested in hearing about with Mr. Beast is he was talking about he has a kamikaze approach to his business. He says, I'm so passionate, I'm so in belief in what I'm doing that from the earliest days and all the way up until today, I don't really even take a paycheck. You guys think I'm
living? He doesn't.
No. He pours.
He lives with his buddies in a duplex.
Yes.
Yeah.
His girlfriend's like, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. He kamikaze approach. This is my goal. I'm going for it. And if I die, I freaking die. This is what I want. I'm like, wow, I admire that. I have kids. I can't really act that way, but I can dial it down and kind of take some advice. What he said was every single level he reached was because people he collaborated with. 100%. Yeah.
He needs to stop giving kids $10,000 at Halloween because Bo saw that and he's like, $10,000? Can I have $10,000? I was like, you're 6 years old. What are you doing, bro?
Oh, so good.
You know what I mean? He's like, oh, I want 100,000. I was like, how do you even know what 100,000 is?
Yeah.
Mr. Beast. It's just throwing it at people. But he does. I mean, it's wild.
Yeah, it was interesting. He started talking about, systems and hiring people and building an actual company and all of these things that I'm like, man, I'm 40 years old. And this guy learned it all at a younger age. But where did he learn it from? He learned it from people that are 2 or 3 years ahead of him. And so I challenge people, like somebody coming in and going, oh man, I can't be a surgeon today because I didn't go to college. Why is that normal?
Yeah.
But like you going, I can't raise $1 million today because I don't have experience and no track record. Oh, that's not fair. Guys, doctors go to school for how long? Anybody in here a doctor?
Forever.
12 to 16 years.
It's forever. That's why it's called a practice.
They
literally are doing that all the time.
And what does a doctor make? Like top end, $1 million. Okay. I have anesthesiologists, by the way, that are some of my private money lenders. Mm-hmm. The second they became anesthesiologists, they're like, how do I become a real estate investor?
Yeah.
Right. They don't want to be, they don't want to be a doctor. They were a doctor because their parents told them to become a doctor. Very few of them are like, I really love guts and sticking needles in people. I really love that. Okay. Very few of them. But the average doctor makes $500,000 a year. Mm-hmm. You can make way more money than that in wholesale and fixing and flipping and buying and holding. So if they're taking 12 years to become a doctor, then freaking be patient like Luke Rockwold put in 3 years.
He didn't do a deal for his first 4 months. And he just had the stars in his eyes, and he was just kept going. So kept going. And then all of a sudden the first one goes. And then the second, and you build up that pipeline. And once that pipeline's built up, you gotta make sure that it never ends. You're constantly, it's a flowing river. You know what I mean? It's constantly going. And if you shut it down and you dam it up, that's when you have the inconsistencies in your business. And I find that often happens when people try to scale too fast and replace themselves from doing the hustle season.
Yeah.
Because you need to go through the hustle season. Without a doubt, you need to go through that hustle season where you are building that thick skin and you're really understanding this business and you're really going out and growing and challenging yourself and stretching yourself beyond your comfort zones. And then you look back and you're like, holy shit, I did it. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's when it's like.
Do you ever have gratitude for how hard this really is?
Yes.
Does anybody else have gratitude for how hard this actually is?
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you why I have gratitude for it. 99% of people will literally never have any consistency of anything in their life, let alone real estate. And that means somebody as stupid as me, all I have to do is be consistent at the thing that nobody else is consistent at, and I, by default, win.
Yeah.
By default. It's like showing up. Did anybody play like little league sports where the other team was missing a player, and so they couldn't even play you, and by default, you just won? Yeah. That's how I feel about real estate investing.
One of your teammates on their team is like, well, come on, man.
Exactly. That's how I feel about real estate. I feel like by default, the majority of people just lack the consistency, the wherewithal, and they find reasons to complain. They put their energy in the incorrect places. And then even thinking this morning, I structured my morning a little bit different today. I said, I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to tell people, please don't bother me until about 10 o'clock.
Nice.
I'm going to spend 3 hours delegating my vision for the week. And I'm going to create Loom videos and answer my emails, everything with a video, so that there's no questions. And I'm going to go through the thing that's really hard for me. The thing that's really hard for me is to stop, sit down, and explain a vision and type things out.
Yeah.
That is something that drives me wild.
Yeah.
But then I also find myself complaining throughout the week saying, why do people not catch my vision?
Yeah.
And so I'm really challenging myself to do the things that the 99% won't do. Right? So anyway, I could go on that soapbox for a while. Great question in the comments.
I can answer this
one of my favorite questions about subject 2. Well, I'll let Uncle Lanza to answer this, and I'll maybe add a little cherry on top.
Yeah.
Regarding subject 2, what happens when the loan holder dies? Uncle Lanza.
You keep paying the mortgage. You just keep paying the mortgage. I have several sub 2 deals I've done where the loan holder died, and I just keep paying the mortgage. What I've found, and you can correct me if you think I'm wrong, Pace, is that banks just want the money. They don't care. As long as you keep paying that mortgage, they don't care.
Think about it this way. Think about all the married couples and all of the years that mortgages have been in existence. that one of the married people die, does the bank go, give us the house right now? Or do they let that married person, the other person in the relationship, continue to make the payments without even bothering them?
Is there anything in the paperwork that says if they pass away that the note is due?
No, because think about the kids. Think about the kids that might be living in the house, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, your parents died. Nope. For as long as mortgages have existed, the people who own the house, live in the house, whatever, have the ability and the legal right to continue to make the payment.
Yeah.
That's it. Till death, what?
Well, isn't that what that
Mortgage means to death?
Mortier means
in
French means
Yeah.
Well, in Arizona, do we have mortgages?
No, we have deed of trusts.
We have deeds of trust in Arizona. We don't have mortgages. If you have a mortgage in Arizona, that means you don't live in Arizona. Just FYI. But we use the word mortgage.
That's why people love, and we were having this conversation before. Arizona is the 48th state. And so the local government wants economy here. They want action. They want money to be brought here. So they make it easier for lenders to foreclose, right?
Yes.
And it's and everything in everything. They want the economies. They want to bring in industry. They want to be able to do all this to really grow this monster in Greater Phoenix. But do we have the mic? Guys, let's do some questions in the audience. This is absolutely bananas to have you guys all here. This is crazy.
You guys all should have dressed up as bananas.
I've got them. I got outfits.
Bring out the banana suits.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
no. It's going to be so they can hear you. Yeah.
So, you said Arizona has deed of trust. And so if you have a deed of trust on a property, somebody passes away, you pay off the mortgage completely, it goes into your name.
Well, so in the very beginning, when I buy a house subject to, from the very, very beginning, the deed is in my name.
Correct.
Whether the mortgage
not the deed of trust, the warranty deed or quitclaim deed.
All right, so let me explain something to you. Okay, a long time ago, like 200 years ago. She didn't have the thing on. About 200 years ago, a bunch of gray-haired old men, they say, we don't want anybody getting into real estate. So let's make all the terms overlap, even though they don't mean anything. They're not remotely the same. So like deed and deed of trust actually have literally nothing to do with each other, yet they confuse people because they both use the word deed. Okay, so the deed is the certificate of ownership. It's the receipt of real estate. That's what a deed is. A deed of trust is synonymous with mortgage, which means the debt. Okay, the debt. Okay, so for example, let's talk about this as a credit card. Okay, so if you go into the grocery store, you use a credit card, right? You're using somebody else's money, not your money. Okay, let's say you buy something for $100. Okay, you owe your credit card company $100. That's your mortgage, right? With them, that's the debt, is the mortgage. And now the certificate of ownership is what? The receipt. Cool. So I can take those groceries, and even though I still owe my credit card company, I can hand those groceries to Uncle Lanza and the receipt. He now becomes the owner of those groceries, regardless of whose name is on the credit card bill. Okay, that's called subject to. So whether I die or not, he has the receipt and he has possession of the property. He is the owner, not the person who has the credit card bill. The person who has the credit card bill has never been the owner. Think about this. Have you ever used your mom or your grandma's credit card? Anybody in here? I have.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. Think about this. When you go down to the grocery store, you buy whatever it is. Does your mom own the thing that you bought, or do you own the thing that you bought? Interesting. That is called subject to. I bought something subject to somebody else's debt, right? So
subject to
cool.
I just mean about once someone passes and you pay it off, then
why would we pay it off when they die?
Okay, so
you already own it. You already own it.
Hell no.
So when you get to like down to the little bit, you just don't pay it off.
No. When you pay, if it comes to the term and you've paid off all the mortgage, then your cash flow just goes up. But you've already owned it. You've owned the property since the time that you got it Typically,
when somebody passes away, like I actually bought a deal from Brent. I'll give you an example. Okay, I bought a deal from Brent. The lady was already dead before I bought the house.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
it wasn't my fault.
No. Yeah, didn't you tell your cold callers to call them to tell their dad or something like that?
The funniest thing, we've talked about it on the show, but it's like the ballsiest thing ever. Pace just doesn't care. He just gets on the phone. He just says crazy stuff. And they're like, he's like, well, I'm going to drive by the property. Can I get in? They're like, well, we don't have keys. He's like, it's fine. I'll just break the window. And she's like, ha, ha, ha. And he's like, no, I'm serious. And she's like, please don't break the window. You know, and but
we had he was a TTP day on Friday.
Yeah,
and I would come over here and hang out with Brent's students.
He had an
Fridays.
office in here.
Yeah, I had a little office, and so one of his acquisition guys comes in and goes, "Hey, I've got a lead. Lady's in foreclosure, and the mom has died. Who has the name on the credit card bill, right?" And she says, "There's nothing we can do about it." Like, yes, there is. Yes, there is. I can still buy that dead lady's house. I know it sounds insensitive, but it's the fastest way to say it. I don't want to say the lady who deceased every time I say it. The lady died, okay? So I call the lady, or I call the girl and I go, hey, I can be over there right now. And she's like, I can't get over there. And the keys are at my brother's house. I go, no problem. I'll just go over there and we'll just break a window. And she's like, why would you do that? And I put on mute and I'm like, because the TTP students are here. I want to show you guys how to break into a window.
Yeah.
So we drove over to the house. We break into the house.
In the Prius.
And she then came over late that night, and I signed a sub-2 contract on the back of my little Prius right in front of the TTP students. Mm-hmm. And they were like, wait, you can buy a house from this girl, and their mom, who has the mortgage in her name, is already dead. Yes. The answer is yes. Okay. The house is on Pueblo, 9816 Pueblo. Okay. I still own it to this day. So here's what we did. We got into a contract. Guess what? That contract was not legally binding. Why? She's not the owner of the property, and it had not gone through probate. So who did I hire?
Real estate attorney.
Rylas Dana, who is you guys go to Wholesale Hotline and type in Rylas Dana. He's been on the show a couple of times. So I hire Rylas Dana. The cool thing about him is he will do the probate work for you and then get paid once the probate stuff is done. So I didn't have to come out of pocket. But I'm a smart negotiator. So I told the seller, I go, I'm going to come out of pocket and make sure the probate attorney is paid. I'm going to take care of you. This contract I'm going to have you sign is not legally binding, but just socially it's binding that we know you and I are on the same page. When the probate is done, and I've paid all the money, which I am not going to pay all the money, we will then sign a new contract that is legally binding because now you will be the administrator of the estate. Okay, cool. He goes through the probate, takes 30 days. I go get a new contract. We go open up escrow. I don't even need the dead lady's signature to take over the ownership of her property. Yes. Yes. Okay. So I have 5 houses from dead people. I am building a graveyard right now. I'm just trying to prove a point. Okay?
No, I get it.
So here's the thing. So now I own the property and I make the payments on it every single month. Why would I ever purposely try to pay off that house other than when my tenant pays me?
What's the interest rate on it?
The interest rate on that's 3%, maybe lower.
That's it. Jamil talked about it.
Yeah, Jamil talked about it
yesterday about how
the new
2% and 3% loans are its own asset class now.
It's a new asset.
It is, and I think he's right because he mentioned we're not going to see that low of interest rates again in our lifetime.
Okay, so here's the answer.
I mean, who knows?
I said all that to build up to your question.
No, I appreciate
So what do you do now with a house, even though the person's passed away, alive, dead, doesn't matter? Why would you ever purposely ever try to pay off a house other than just the payments every month?
I guess you don't.
It makes 0 sense. It makes 0 sense to ever pay off a house. Let your tenants pay off the house for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's say the house gets paid off and now I own nothing on the property.
Yes.
Now what does Robert Kiyosaki do?
He gets a new loan.
He goes out and he says, oh, this house is now worth $200,000. My tenants have paid off the mortgage from the dead lady. I have always owned it, but now I own it free and clear. Yeah. I'm now going to go to a bank and get a cash out refinance. Mm-hmm. Why is that a good idea?
Yeah. So you can reinvest the money into it.
Well, because you get a big chunk of money, $200,000-$300,000, whatever it is, all tax free because it's not income; it's considered a debt.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who's going to pay that debt off for us?
The tenants.
The tenants. It is recycling money all the time. Okay. So when I want to buy a new Prius, I just go to one of my houses and I go, we're going to refinance that. And I'm going to pull the money out to buy a new Prius. Right. And then my tenants pay down that debt for me. I don't have to pay off any debts. Somebody else pays off all my debts.
That makes sense.
Yes. So whenever you have a dead seller, please call me. I will buy the house.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And
She's got a question here.
Yeah, she has a question, but I would like to say thank you for the gear yesterday, Pace.
Of course. Yes.
Yeah.
Rhino gear.
So people know at the event at the Growth Summit 2023, Pace bought all the swag out.
Yeah, he did.
All right.
Is anybody wearing any of it right now?
Yeah.
They're all wearing it.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some.
Perfect.
There's
Oh,
some.
damn. Y'all
It's
look
all-
good.
it's awesome.
Go ahead.
Okay, I want to continue with this, what she just said.
Always. Let's go.
The lady died
Yep.
in probate. The
No, she
daughter-
died. Yeah, she died well before probate. Yeah.
Right, well, she died before
By
probate.
the way,
daughter,
you guys know about my bunny story, right?
yes.
Okay, here's the best part of the story. Because everybody's like, where does a deal come from? How do deals happen? Guys, the reason the daughters were behind, so the mom died. There was 3 daughters living in the house. And the daughters are like, now that our mom's dead and the Social Security has ended, we can't afford this house payment. So we're going to let the house go and we're going to move out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how much the house payment was? $400.
Yeah, not crazy.
Do you know how much I rent that thing for?
$1,200.
It's like $1,900.
You're welcome, Pace.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The best part of that whole deal is not even the money; it's the story of like all these amazing things that happened from it. So the 3 daughters, I paid them all. How much money do you think I paid them when I took the house? $500 each. They asked me for $500 total. I was like, I feel really bad because I did the positioning of like, I'm going to pay all this money to the probate attorney. I don't know where this money is going to come from. My wife is going to kill me. My wife don't know nothing about my business. Well, she knows a lot, but she doesn't. I'm not like saying, hey, sweetheart, can I borrow $5,000 from the business? My wife is like, go build the kingdom, right? But because I said, I got to figure out where this $5,000 comes from. But in the meantime, what kind of money would it make sense for you to just sign everything over to me? She's like, would you do $500? And I got a house that cash flows me $1,700
and fix the window.
And fix the window. I said the best part is you won't have to fix the window because I'll be the new owner. So go ahead with your question.
Okay, well, this was originally a foreclosure.
Yep.
That she died when the process of being in foreclosure. So then it goes in now. It's in probate.
Yes.
But so the daughter, I went with the daughter, and she, of course, what you just said, she wasn't authorized to sign the purchase agreement, which I did have her sign, even though I knew that she didn't have the authorization yet. She had to go through probate.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, between time, she ghosted me. She went and got somebody else. I guess they paid off the loan. I don't know what happened. But would I be able to use a memorandum on that?
No.
To put something on the property?
Legally, no.
So what can I do?
Just
At this
chalk it
point.
up as
build
being
better relationships.
Just a learning lesson.
Yeah.
building
Lesson
better
learned.
relationships and remembering the most important phrase that I've ever said that has ever come out of my mouth. What is the phrase? Buyers are liars and sellers are
That was the
worse.
worst.
And know that even it doesn't matter if they're a 90-year-old woman, they be lying. In fact, they're better liars than the 20-year-olds. Assume they're talking to 5 other people and your rapport.
Yeah.
How strong your rapport is your fortified wall around that human being. And don't be surface level rapport. Like, what's your favorite color? Like, we've taken our sellers on double dates. My seller, the seller that helped me come up with this logo 5 years ago, was texting me. Actually, he texted me your picture today from your TV show.
Nice.
Yeah. Your
TV commercial.
Your sellers should be
TV
so in love
commercial.
with you that you're friends with them for 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
That's how good you have to be in rapport. Otherwise, they're just going to go whoever has the easiest, and they sound the most confident, easiest, and highest dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 3 things that win.
See, the thing
Yeah,
is
that's it.
that if you got a person contract, it's no good. It's void because she wasn't authorized.
Right.
She wasn't legally administrator of the property.
Right.
So when she did become deceased, she can sign another contract with somebody else, which avoids mine. Like
this sounds like a cash deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is. I'm going to tell you guys why I think.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to tell you why I think creative has always been the easiest thing for me, is because these little things. Remember what I said earlier, is that I do what the 99% won't do, and that's figure out one more little strategy, one more little benefit to the seller. I focus on creative finance wholesale deals and accumulation a lot more today, like holding a lot more, because one little thing, which is the sub 2 deal of a dead person, no wholesaler even wanted to touch that deal. Nobody.
Hey, Ryan.
So
come here.
The challenge is in cash, it's all about rapport.
Would you, okay. How would you build a relationship? Come on.
Grab that mic.
How would you build the relationship? Okay. How would you build the relationship with a property owner so that there's stickiness? People need to see your so that there's stickiness to the process if they're going through probate. If they're going through.
Okay, wait. Sorry. Say the question again.
You've got a whatever, daughter or son that's going to be inheriting a property. You just talk to them. They're just starting the probate process, but the probate process takes a while to get through.
Yeah.
How do you build a relationship so that they don't take another offer or ghost you during this process, because it's a longer process?
Yeah, for sure. So basically you're relating to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, listen, this is a big deal. I know this is going to be a long, drawn out headache for you, and I want to be a resource for you every step of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get that, maybe you've never gone through this before, and I want to make sure that you're not going to have any hiccups. I want to make sure that you're not going to get swindled or get any kind of false information, and I want to be the person that's going to help you through it.
Yep.
Now, is that okay with you? Like, can I do that for you?
Get permission.
Get permission.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You said you did all that? Okay. All right. And so what do you think was the deciding factor for them to?
I went to her first, before I door knocked.
Yeah.
I left I picked out a flyer, everything I can do. And I left it with her husband. He lost it somewhere. I come back, followed up 2 weeks later. She said somebody else came, knocked on the door. She took that. She said, I don't know what my husband did with your information. So she said, I got someone else. I followed up again, another 2 weeks. This was like a week before the foreclosure. She said, oh, I'm so glad you came back. Can you help me? 3 days before foreclosure. Of course, I stopped the foreclosure, went from there, then, went into the probate stuff. And I thought we established a rapport, talked with her, everything, always, connection, texting her, blah, 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 blah. Got her attorney, everything. And then the next thing I know, my attorney called me, asked me, Shawty, did you pay off her loan? No, I did not pay off her loan because he thought I did.
Yeah.
I said, you told me not to because she got to get approved to be administrator. And then the next thing he knows, somebody paid off her house. I called her up. She said, I'm going to call you back. She never called me back. I went by her house. She just goes to me.
So I get in a real good habit of getting verbal commitments about communication.
Should I have something to be signed before?
No, just a verbal, like, listen, hey, there's going to be a lot that's going on. I need you to promise me that you're going to keep me up to speed with whatever's going on. I'm going to follow up with you. I'm an over communicator, and I need to make sure that if I'm communicating with you efficiently, you're going to communicate with me efficiently. Can you do that for me? Like, and so verbal commitments are huge. And if they can't do that, then they're buyers or sellers, they're lying. There's something is missing in that relationship that they're not telling you. And it's our job to really get to the nitty gritty of what's going on.
Because I was right there for her and was always there checking on her.
Yeah.
Doing all the extra stuff that nobody
sometimes people just out relationship.
Yeah.
The one thing we have not covered is the black swan. Okay.
Give it up for Ryan.
So the black swan, remember this. This is one of the most important things you could ever bring up in the first 5 minutes of an appointment. How are the other conversations going with the other investors? And I always ask some iteration of this. I'll say, what's kept you from selling the house so far?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of offers are you getting thrown out? Are they including earnest money? Have they told you what title company they're going to open with?
This literally just happened to Ryan. He went on an appointment, and I want to see if he got it locked up. But Doug Hopkins' team was the appointment before him and was like, you got to make sure it's non-refundable earnest money, no inspection period, all these things. Ryan's like, what do you think? I was like, yeah, do it. Right? Did you get the deal?
Which one?
The one,
the Doug Hopkins deal.
Yes.
Yes.
I did. So about, I don't know what it was, about 7 or 8 years ago, when I was just doing only wholesale.
Yeah.
And I was wholesaling sub 2 and doing whatever, but I was wholesaling like probably 90%. I was like, how do I edge out my competition? So I came up with the scorch earth method, which was $10,000 non-refundable, proof of funds in your own name, no inspection, no access to the property the second the house goes under contract. You're not allowed to have your contractors walk in here. You either get photos or you don't come back. And man alive, I got my conversion rate like tripled.
Yeah, so it's a great method. And so my question with this deal, they're telling me, oh well, they said that you should get a $5,000 non-refundable and no inspection. I go, great, you should do it. What's keeping you from?
In fact, 5,000. Why so low?
Yeah,
10,000.
Yeah, what's keeping you from going that route? And then I say, listen, you know what? I would love to give you $5,000 non-refundable, but how can I do that without an inspection period? Oh, okay. And I basically just explained to him, as an investor, we take a lot of risk, but our risk has to make sense. Would it make sense to you to give someone $5,000 and they can't even look at the house in a way that makes them really want to buy it? And then that's just kind of an understanding that you come to, and that was it.
Yeah.
So let's tie it into real estate agents for a minute. Okay. Ingrid, for example, have you ever had buyers
up front here?
Have you ever had a buyer's father-in-law kill a deal for you?
No.
Because that's like a classic real estate
It is
meme.
a classic one, but it's one of those things, and you learn this in the sales stuff that we learned through you, is that you have to close all the doors. Like,
yeah, those are the black swans. You gotta call them all out.
Yeah.
Calling all black swans. The father-in-law going to kill this deal? Is another wholesaler going to kill this deal?
Yeah.
Is the neighbor down? I have a deal right now.
Yeah.
Where the seller says, hey, my neighbor is really interested in buying the house. And I go, great. What's his name? I'll call him right now.
Yeah.
And guess what? He didn't exist.
Right.
She just said that because she was trying to create a fictitious third party. So I just call out all the black swans ahead of time.
Yeah, if they're on Hell Island and they want to get to Heaven Island, how many bridges are there?
Right.
Right? And then you just ask, what are the different bridges? How are you going to get over there? Do you have another offer? Is there somebody else that you're talking to? Why don't you just clean it up, fix it up yourself and sell it? Why don't you put it listed with a real estate agent? Why don't you re-rent it out? Why don't you get a new loan for it? Whatever it is, right? And then all of a sudden those different bridges crumble and you're the last one standing.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first started, I was going on appointments, and I would go compete against everybody else. I had this guy that taught me go in there with a clipboard and criticize everything about their house.
Mm-hmm. This was taught for a long time.
A long time.
Yeah.
In fact, there's this new thing called an iPad. Take the iPad, you'll look legitimate. You'll look like a real estate investor.
That's a real pro.
That's a real pro.
That's a real pro.
And I go, I don't like that method. I don't like it at all. And I tried it. I had like a tucked in shirt and a collared shirt. I looked like I was playing golf. And I went in and I was about to do this method of like criticizing their house. And I was like, no, this doesn't feel right. I just want to understand, why am I the best fit for this seller? Mm-hmm. I want to feel good about, hey, if you buy a product from me or if you sell a product to me, I want to make sure that both of us win. And so out of genuine curiosity, I just defaulted to, why didn't you sell through an agent? I truly want to know, because one day on Wholesale Hotline, somebody's going to ask me, why don't these sellers just sell through a real estate agent? And out of pure curiosity, and you genuinely care for them, they will tell you, and they will unload and unload and unload. And guess what? In that magic process, the more they talk to you, the more they feel connected to you. Mm-hmm. And so the more you can ask them questions of like, why this and why that? And how does that make you feel? And what are the other investors telling you about the house? Why do you think, in a perfect world, what would make me a good investor for you? What could I do? Blah, 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 blah. Keep them talking. Keep them talking. Again, the more they talk to you, the more they feel connected to you. And I feel like somewhere along the way, in the very beginning, you missed a couple of those steps. There's no other logical explanation. If you ever go on an appointment with me, you'll say, holy shit. The only thing Pace did was ask like 13 questions every couple of minutes, but very slowly, paid attention to them. And then I left, and I won't even look at the house because it's not about the house.
Mm-mm.
It's always about the person, what they're going through, and who else they're talking to. And also you establish, right, as a sales guy in the very beginning, it's weird if you, on the 5th call, you ask the seller, who else are you talking to? That's weird. But when you show up to the house and you act as if this is a normal part, like, hey, how's it going with the other investors? Immediately you set the expectation that that's the line of communication that you want, and you show them it's okay for them to tell you that they're talking to other people.
But what if they never thought about it, Pace? What if now you're putting it in their mind? Maybe they need to get other bids, other offers.
And tell them what I say when a seller says, well, I probably need to get other bids. Perfect. What would that perfect bid look like for you?
But they've already thought about it. It's very rare that you go on an appointment and you ask a question, what are the other investors saying so far? And they're like, am I supposed to talk to more investors about this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they know they have talked to and have gotten mail and have gotten calls and they've gotten texts. You're not the only one.
If you are calling on somebody who actually has motivation, you are not going to be the only person calling them.
Right.
And if you are the only person calling them, then you probably are calling somebody with no motivation.
And have they made the decision that they're going to sell? This is so important.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's the whole sell me this pen thing, right? You don't sell to people that don't need pens. You find the people that need a pen. You find the people that have made the decision that they're going to sell. Don't waste your time with people that are just like, well, I haven't really thought about it, but, you bring me the right offer and we'll see what happens here.
Gladys.
Buddy. Never happens. And then we're like, I got this lead. This is a great lead. They want to sell. And then you get there.
This is a perfect example. Check this out.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Gladys.
You guys know Jerry Norton lives in Kalispell. And about 3 years ago, I was driving around in my Airstream and I was texting Jerry and he's like, oh, you're in your Airstream. Where are you going? I go, I'm going to Kalispell. I want to retire there or at least spend my summers there. And he goes, I'm buying a house in Kalispell. Well, long story short, homeboy now owns 2 houses next to each other. I own 0 houses in Kalispell. So this summer I made a commitment. We have a sub-2 student in Kalispell. He calls me up and he goes, man, I'm an agent. Mm-hmm. I've never seen any creative finance deals in Kalispell. It's like the Aspen of Montana. There's no creative finance deals here. And I go, okay, well, I'll challenge you. By the time you get me approved for a traditional loan, which is what you want to do, I bet you I could help you find 15 seller finance deals. And he's like, that's the freaking easiest bet. I'll take it right now. Guess what? 40 days later, I'm still not approved for a traditional loan. They want me to do a bank, what do they call them? Bank statement loans?
Sure.
Because I make no money. I don't make any money. The IRS thinks I'm broke. So in 3 days, he found me 15 deals. Okay. 15 deals. This is what this gangster does. He's a gangster. I go, I want to be on Lake Blaine. So he calls every owner on Lake Blaine.
He just calls them up?
Calls them up.
No.
He's in the TTP program.
You can't do that.
Talks to people.
You can't do that. That's too simple.
He calls every single owner on Lake Blaine. There's about 100 owners. He gets a hold of a seller who says, for the right offer, I would sell. Mm-hmm. And so he sends it over to me. He goes, I got you a deal. And I go, oh, okay. So I explain it. I go, hey, probably not a good fit. It's a gorgeous home. It is on the water. It's like I could see Jerry's house across the lake. It would be fun. We'd be like trying to throw rocks at each other. And then the next day he calls a guy and he goes, I don't think you'll want this deal, but the guy's going through a divorce and they have to sell. And I go, I don't even need to know anything else about it. That is a deal. You have now, that is the difference. And 636 South Lake Blaine Road in Kalispell, Montana. You can go pull up the house. We just submitted an offer to the guy, seller finance. And the guy's like, done, let's do the deal. Mm-hmm. Don't tell my wife I'm surprising her for 4th of July. So
she's watching.
Is she?
No.
Okay. So that
she's here. No.
But that's the difference in this business is that we're not wasting our time calling people. Like if I'm a single dude and I want to get married, should you be calling married women?
No.
Call sellers with motivation. That's all there is to it.
That's it. It's a great point. I like that. Who else? Yeah, there you go. All right.
Yeah.
Who else has any questions? Guys, any questions about raising funds? Any questions? Whatever. Creative, wholesale, whatever. All right.
I do have another question.
All right.
Okay. So about raising funds, if I have somebody's, like he said, he has his dentist, and I know they have money and they want to get into real estate, but they don't want to do anything except for make money on their money. So what do I have to put in place to make sure that all like paperwork, whatever is in place so that I can use their money and then give them money in return?
Okay. So first and foremost, never, ever, ever borrow money from anybody unless you have an asset to tie it to.
Okay.
Okay, so I see a lot of wholesalers do this. They go, I'm going to go get a private money lender to pay for my marketing, my cold callers.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking on a house or something.
I know that. I got to clear the slate.
Thank you.
Don't ever borrow or loan money to people unless it's on a real estate project. So now that that's being said, how do you protect their money, or what's the paperwork look like?
Well, okay, so yeah, they're giving me money, so obviously there should be some kind of agreement, paperwork.
There is never an agreement, okay? This is an interesting thing about private money lenders. You don't have an agreement.
Okay.
It is a security instrument called a promissory note.
Okay.
And what that is I promise to pay you. I promise so hard. I'm going to write this on a note. Therefore, we're going to call it a promissory note.
And are you doing that through like a real estate attorney or something?
All of our sub-2 community has my promissory notes.
What about personal guarantees?
I will do a personal guarantee at this point. When I was first brand new, I was like, no, I'm not doing a personal guarantee. Mm-hmm. The asset is the guarantee, right? The house that you're loaning on. So promissory note is document number one. And the promissory note is typically one page. It's very simple.
Okay.
And you remember seeing Dumb and Dumber when he was like handing out the IOUs? Those are promissory notes. Okay. He's like, you better keep this one. This one's alive.
This is the Ferrari.
It's Ferrari, 200,000. So those are promissory notes.
Okay.
So the promissory note by itself is not the debt instrument. The debt instrument is now, we talked about this earlier, the deed of trust. So every single time you loan money or borrow money, there should be three things involved. Okay. Number one, promissory note. Number two, deed of trust. Number three, a lender's title policy. You should always buy a lender's title policy for your lender. Why? Because something bad could happen. We had a deal like 7 years ago. I was in the middle of a flip. I borrowed money for that flip from a hard money lender and a private money lender. And the owner, 5 owners prior, sued me for the person 4 people prior foreclosed on them illegally. So they came and sued whoever the owner of the property was to get their property taken, like to get their money back. I was in litigation for 18 months. My title policy cut a check to my lender and said, here's your money while we litigate. Walk away. We'll make sure you're taken care of. That's what a lender's policy will do for you. So make sure you always take care of your lender's title. You get a lender's title policy.
And one other thing.
And it needs to be an extended one, by the way, because some of them will just make sure the paperwork's good. An extended title policy means that you'll get your money back.
Just one other thing you're going to want to need to do too is make sure you get an insurance policy and name them as additionally insured.
Insurance policy on the house itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the
title
lender
policy
is the additionally insured person.
The title policy is to ensure the paperwork was done properly and there's no liens. The policy Lanza is talking about is to ensure the property itself from a fire or some sort of water flood or something like that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
I think Derek Barton had a question in the back. He's debating on whether he should ask it or not.
Oh, Derek back there? Oh, yeah, there it is.
Derek is currently going through. He has a loan with.
Is anybody cooler looking than Dimitri Von Kamp right
no,
here?
Dude, he's
Come
so
on,
sick.
Give it up! Look at this guy. Come on.
Yes.
From Belgium.
I could see that. He looks like he's from Belgium.
The lender's policy, can it be done after the deal closes?
Lender's policy has to be done at the exact time the deal closes. I just did an interview with one of the most epic escrow officers. She's been in the business 41 years. It's not Eileen Brown, somebody else. And we talked about the legitimacy of putting a lender's policy. This is weird to get into all the nuances, but the answer is no, you can't. Unfortunately, Derek, I'm sorry. It's like $400. Here's what the answer to that question is. Too little for you to justify not getting one. And also, I've said this to everybody out loud. Ingrid is in a situation right now where you didn't get a title policy on a house, right? You figured it out. You paid for it. Okay. Oh, you paid the judgment. Okay. I always tell everybody, no matter what you hear on YouTube, there's a couple of guys on YouTube that will educate. Do not get a title policy when buying a sub 2 or seller finance deal. Was that good advice? No. It was the worst advice. And I tell people all the time, buy a title policy 100% of the time.
I asked for the title policy.
And they fought you on it. You should have said, my mentor Pace might be half your age, but he's twice as smart as you. But you figured it out. Good for you. I know. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's going to be a good story at some point on your podcast.
Yeah.
Angie Milanazzo.
Yes.
Best hair in the game.
Thank you. So back in November, Joey had a deal and we purchased a home subject to. Well, we were going to turn around and wrap the deal. However, it took about 4 months, but he did not do the title policy. Mm-hmm. And some kids caught fire, the house.
Okay.
So
a title policy should not matter on.
I mean, home insurance.
Okay, so somebody
home insurance.
So your son stopped paying the insurance on the property?
Did not stop paying the insurance. The insurance policy it was a really crappy policy that it has a clause in there that if you vacate the premises for more than 60 days, you have to notify them.
Okay, so we broke.
But we didn't
Pace's
add ourselves.
Rules.
He didn't add us.
Well, Pace's rule of buying a subject to deal is that you replace the insurance policy with a new policy that covers whatever your exit strategy is going to be, and you guys failed to do
correct.
that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
how bad's the fire?
I know.
$200,000.
We have Vina Jetty's public adjuster on it.
Yeah, that's probably the right answer.
He's fighting hard, so.
Yeah, that's the answer. Public adjuster is the right answer. But that I can tell you, so I've been in that same situation before where I got lazy. This is probably 7 years ago. I had a deal where I got really lazy and I go, oh, there's already an insurance policy in place. I'll just leave it there. Well, guess what? The insurance policy actually did cover the damage. It was a water flood through the top floor going down to the bottom. My tenants had to move out, all that kind of stuff. The insurance company cut a check. But who did they cut a check to?
To the
previous seller,
owner.
because I stupidly didn't switch out the insurance with a new insurance.
Well, the owner's on our side. I mean, like.
But you guys didn't upgrade your insurance to a different exit strategy. You kept.
There may be some light. So the adjuster, the insurance adjuster, spoke to our public adjuster, and he said, "Hey, we may be on the hook for this one because we've been accepting your payments."
Oh yeah,
and they called it some attorney term, right? Where basically we thought we were covered because we were giving up paying the money.
I love it.
So hopefully it's covered. And if it is, then
this is
it's
why a good attorney and a good public adjuster will always make you a ton of money.
Would that be Scott Horn?
What's that?
Would you use Scott Horn as the attorney?
In Colorado?
No, this is in Texas.
That's not Scott Horn's specialty.
Okay.
I would find an insurance specialty. I would call James Hodges, and he's an insurance broker in Texas. I'll give you his phone number after the show.
Okay.
And I would call him and ask him who's the insurance attorney that we should call.
Okay. Thank you.
I wish I learned that, but like attorneys are not attorneys. You know what I'm saying? Like, what kind of attorney are you? Mm-hmm. Same thing with a doctor. It's like there's so many different doctors. Man, I like having a live audience.
I do too. The live audience is awesome. You guys are invited every week. Right over here.
Just feed them.
How many people are out of town right now? Holy shnikes, dude. Holy shnikes.
On the elevator night and at the summit, you brought up that one story of like how you asked, what do you have? What do you need? How did you structure that deal? Was it like a joint venture agreement that you would get the cut if you brought the private lender to the developer? How did you structure that?
Okay, so what he's talking about is on at elevator night a couple months ago, I spoke about how I network at events. And I told a story about how easy it is to network and make money at events. When I go places, my goal is like, how do I walk into a room and make 50 grand today? not like 50 grand in the future, but like, how do I make 50 grand today? Is there a deal I can buy? Is there a deal I can co-wholesale? Is there some sponsor I can sponsor somebody's loan? I'm always looking for whatever somebody's needs are, because the how do you become a person of value is you accumulate experiences, resources, and relationships. And if you accumulate those, then you're like what's that cat with the magic bag? Felix. You're like Felix the cat. Anybody's problem, I can pull a solution out and I can make money on it. So at that meetup, I talked to a guy. I said, what do you have? What do you need? On my right, he says, I have a 42-acre development and I'm out of money. I need $1 million to finish it. I go, great. Are you okay if I find $1 million tonight and I structure a way to own part of that deal with you? He says, yes. I turn to my left without even moving a foot. And I talked to Jody Evans, and Jody Evans said, I go, what do you have? What do you need? He says, I have $1 million and I have no idea what to do with it. It's a 1031 exchange and I have like 3 weeks to identify a project. I go, I have a project for you. It's a 42-acre development. Are you okay if I find a place for that money to go and I make money on that transaction because I'm not the owner of it? He goes, no, that'd be great. And I step back, I put the two people together and I say, you guys need to know each other. Dave, the guy that owns the project, the way I structured it is he gave me 3% ownership of the overall project. So I will make $1.8 million by the time that transaction sells in September, or that whole deal sells in September. And Jody Evans, I think he got like 12% of the total project and he'll make a return of about $4 million. So that is, he invested as an investor. I was given ownership as, I was given equity as somebody who came into the deal as a partner. Mm-hmm. His LLC gave shares to my LLC. These are good problems that you should be having.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the downside of saying, yeah, I'm just a part owner at 3%. One of the things that we do talk about is squatting, right? Like squatting up. And what happens when you have a loss on a deal? What happens when you have to, I know you've talked about one of the partnerships you used to have where you had to call for people's ownership percentage to kind of right their ship, right? Something was happening.
Yeah, it's called a cash call.
A cash call, yeah. Thank you. So what are some of the things that we should be talking about as a part of that agreement? Like, that seems reasonable. But I think what we didn't hear is like, what if they can't sell that? Then what happens to...
Good operators, if they can't sell something, they have the wherewithal to refinance and hold it in the portfolio. It's a multifamily development. So worst case scenario, they'll refinance, they'll hold it in the portfolio. That's worst case scenario, right? On that particular deal. But there are situations where I've referred people together, like whether it's a contract, all the way down from a contractor, I've referred people over and that contractor steals money, right? Like, you brought a contractor into my life. Yeah. He stole 20 grand from me. Stole 30 from me. Right. But did I ever bring that up to you in any negative way? Yeah. And in fact, when I saw you today, I gave you a big old hug and I smelled your hair and I was like, my sister has good smelling hair. I don't think about that stuff, right? Because as grown-ups in business, we are constantly looking for 99% wins and 1% losses. And the 1% losses help us actually win the 99%. So that contractor, it's part of the game, right? And I think when we're out there operating in good faith with each other, we all have to expect that something bad will happen. And that those something bads, you'll get through it and you'll learn through it. Like, you just lost. How much did you lose on that judgment?
Well, the whole project, I think we'll lose between 50 and 55,000.
That's the Texas deal?
That's the Texas deal.
It's like that really nice house that just isn't selling for some reason?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yep.
So all I can say, this is how I look at it. You have a couple options. One option is you can feel really negative about it and be scared about it. Or I can just love doing business with you so much that this year I'm like, I'm not only going to make $55,000 more with you, I'm going to make $155,000 more with you. And that's just the way you go about doing it. You will have losses.
Yeah, absolutely. And I understand that the person that I partnered with may not have the financial ability to take that loss. So I'm very grateful that I was in a position that if I took that loss, I have the means to manage it.
Yeah.
So I've just been trying to, pray, honestly, to say, like, how do I make sure that this person doesn't feel awful for the situation that the market because this was a property, by the way,
You're
that
talking
had
about your JV partner.
Yes, my JV partner. This actually had $175,000 spread, by the way, when we bought it. That's how bad the Austin market corrected for us. And so we went into it eyes, going, okay, God, if it corrects, it's not going to kill us that way. But
yeah, we'll still make money.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, I understand. Like we were all had good intentions. I don't want him to feel awful over this either. So part of me is like, okay, I have a business obligation too, though. So how do I make sure that everybody walks away with all the lessons we needed to learn?
What I would do is that guy, the guy that filed bankruptcy on me, I have this agreement with him that stated that I would walk away from the debt and not tell anybody his name as long as he promised to pay me my $1 million before the day I die. And it's in a written, that's why I never said his name. He's texted me multiple times. He's like, I really like hearing you talk about me, but not saying my name. You're getting really close to dropping my name. And so I'm like, part of me is like, I hope he does pay me back, but I'm expecting him not to. And all the actions I take on a daily basis is to go create new money. And why do I bring that up? I would say, go to your JV partner and say, hey, look, we lost 55,000. And I'm going to bring something to the table where I'll shoulder this burden because I'm in a position that I can't. But that doesn't mean I should be punished because I worked really hard to be in this position. It means that I should be rewarded by you by bringing me other deals that I can make money on to overshadow the loss that I made.
I think just communication too. Yeah. The worst thing is to not answer the phone call and not have the tough conversation.
I think he's the one that's probably going to dodge the phone call. He's like, please, Ingrid, don't. Here's what it is. He brought a deal to her.
Yeah.
She got involved on the JV side. She came in and funded it. And then what ended up happening is the market trended downward. You guys both have equity, but he doesn't have the wherewithal that you have in order to cut a check to get out of the deal. And by the way, if I told you a name of somebody that came to me about 2 weeks ago, very, very prolific name in the fix and flip industry, very well-known guy. He says, I've got a $5 million loss this quarter. But then he's out talking on YouTube about how they're doing 60 flips and all this other stuff. I'm like, man, I will tell people when I lose money, right? So anyway, what I would do is do the communication that I just told you. I'm in a position that I can lose money on this, but I shouldn't be punished because of it. I should be rewarded. So I would like you as my partner to reward me. And I think we should put that in an agreement that states this, this, and this. And that over the next 6 months, you should bring 4 deals to me that I can make money on to overshadow any of the losses that you incurred by not having the money to write the check. Make sense?
Do they have money in it?
No.
No. Well, I shouldn't say that. There is some nominal. I'll say nominal. I'll say they're probably in it about $3,000.
But it's your money?
My money.
You've got your money into it?
So I funded it. So I had a private money lender that I funded it with.
Yes.
They've been rectified. Because that for me was the most important part.
Yeah, absolutely.
My private money lender has lent me on. I've used more than $500,000 of his money. And so for me, that's not a relationship I want to at all mess with. Yeah. So he's been paid back. Like we just closed. He's been paid back. And that's what mattered most to me. I didn't care that I don't want to say I didn't care.
Sure.
Of course, I reconciled with the fact that I was going to have a loss. And I plan on making content around this, by the way.
This is literally all I could wait to tell you is that you saying you made an investor whole will bring you millions and millions of dollars of investors.
Yeah.
But only if you actually get loud, like Brent talks about. If you don't talk about it, then it was a wasted lesson.
I agree with you. Yeah. Yeah. I just want to be very cautious of the names involved. And,
I say Voldemort.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here, Mamadou Diallo, shout out Mamadou.
Mamadou
is the man. Married, babies. Oh my gosh, this guy's the best. He says, same thing just happened to me on my last flip I sold about 2 to 3 weeks ago. It started to triple digit profit, and the market correction, we ended up barely breaking even. Guys, it is part of the game. Now, this is why wholesaling is so magical. And it's also why holding for me is very magical as well. I don't love fixing and flipping, but we're in such an amazing position that we can wholesale deals to fix and flippers. We don't have to fix a flip. The challenge on your side is that the market just caught you in the middle of the deal. And what I love about that is that you know the feeling, and then when it happens to you again, because it will, might be 10 years down the road. Imagine who you'll be in 10 years, and you'll go, oh, this is happening. Oh, this is cute. And you'll have no problem. In fact, you'll tell other people, you'll pat them on the back. I've been there. Don't worry about it. You'll get through it.
Last one.
How did that contractor end up stealing your money, and how can that be prevented?
Don't be a dumbass like me. I've always been a really creative person. So what I did as a contractor, this is what happened. Open Door came to me. I was Open Door's largest contractor.
Are you talking about the loss that he had?
Yeah.
No. Recently. That Ingrid introduced you to.
Okay, so here's what's happening. She bought a deal, and she thought she was going to make a bunch of money. And how could it be prevented? It can't be.
No, how did you lose the money to the contractor that she introduced you to?
Oh, that shit's going to happen, bro.
Well, it's a Ponzi. I mean,
contractors are the ultimate Ponzi schemers, right?
So what that means is they take the money that you give them and they put it into a different project.
Yeah. Actually,
they're taking the money from somebody else that they're doing behind you and use that for your project.
By the way, I'm going to tell you something. I was a very successful contractor. I did that too. Every contractor you will ever meet in your life is running a legal Ponzi scheme. But why? They're not doing it intentionally. I'll tell you why. Contractors are, wow, man, we could talk about this for 2 or 3 hours. As a contractor, I think the legitimate reason is because I think homeowners are pieces of shit. Truly. Homeowners, here's what homeowners will do. They know nothing about construction, and they will go out and get 3 bids, and they will force contractors to lie about their bids in order for that contractor to get the job. The homeowner doesn't know anything about anything except for what they learned on YouTube. So what they're doing is they're driving the prices down of their contractors to get them to bid against each other, and it creates a freaking poisonous, venomous industry where it's homeowner against contractor. That doesn't start with the contractor. That starts with the homeowner. Okay? So the homeowner gets these 3 bids. They play this game of this guy's lower, this guy's lower, this guy's lower. The contractor, who now is like, what the crap, man? I'm trying to be an honest operator here. I guess I got to play by the rules or else I get pushed out of the industry. I was there for 10 years. I know how it is. And when you try and be the honest guy, guess what you are?
The broke guy.
You're the broke guy in construction. Okay. So you either you get away from remodels and fix and flips, because that's where it's really, really bad. You go into commercial construction, it's not like that. Commercial, like QT gas station or Shell gas station, if they're building a gas station, they pay their contractors incredibly well. They know we want good people that are doing the right thing. In homeowners, they don't know what they're doing. So they create an industry of all these contractors. And also, who are the types of contractors that want to work for homeowners doing remodels for all these Karens? I'm serious, guys. I worked in the industry. You tell me I'm wrong, and I'll show you somebody who doesn't have any experience. So contractors then, they go, all right, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to justify change orders throughout the process, because the homeowner, do you think any homeowners ever said, this is my project that I want, and never changed it? No. So now the homeowner who didn't know what they wanted in the beginning, a wall comes down and they start seeing new angles and they start asking for new things. And the contractor goes, this is now my opportunity to change order you to death and catch up for the fact that you grilled me down really low. And it creates a really bad industry. And now these contractors are doing it on 15 jobs. And do you think they have 15 different bank accounts that this money is going into, or one bank account? Okay. So now let's say one customer stiffs them. By the way, a lot of customers will stiff their contractors out of frustration or anger, or a homeowner will go over budget and they don't have the money to pay the contractor, and the contractor gets shorted 40 grand. So then the next thing that you do is the contractor goes, I got to cover my payroll this week, which is 40 grand. I was relying on this customer to pay it. I'm going to go take a deposit from this customer to cover my payroll. And now the Ponzi scheme starts. Okay. I already talked about it. There's the answer.
You're just going to get them angry.
That's the God's truth. There's no explanation outside of that. And then on top of it, contractors can't scale because they're not meant to do paperwork. And so what they do is they're running around and they don't even know they're doing it because they're disorganized it's the weirdest business because it's the business of dichotomy. It's one day you're on the job site, yet your business needs you to be in the office on computer or being organized, but your business also needs you to be out on the job site away from the computer being organized. And so it's a really hard business to be in as a contractor. And so contractors don't even know they're doing it. And so what you do is here's the best way to avoid it. Own your crews. Mm-hmm. My crews work for me and me alone. And every time I go outside of my crew, because guess what? When they're running a Ponzi scheme on me, all 15 houses are my houses. And I have control of the whole Ponzi scheme. You control your crew. Your crew works only for you. This is why crews are so good for you. And then when you start finding other contractors, you better vet them and go, what other projects do you have going on? Don't give a contractor so much rope he hangs himself. Mm. For us, we don't give a contractor more than $5,000 a week. And if he runs out of money, we go, no problem. Figure out how to pull it from another job. I will tell a contractor to pull it from somebody else's job other than mine in order to get to his draw, because I know what they're doing.
But shouldn't he just have the bid already ready?
Bro, you saying this tells me you've not been in that industry. You don't understand. If you understood the industry and you drove around with me for a week, you'd go, holy crap. You should write a book or talk about this on a podcast or something. But that is the answer. Sorry.
Awesome. Guys, will you guys come up here so everybody can see you guys, and we'll
okay, go.
Come here. Okay, come around here so people can see you here. As much as we can fit in here. Guys, it has been Wholesale Hotline number 1.
Oh wow, we ain't fitting in here.
6. Get in here.
Oh yeah, wide
there
angle.
We go. Wide angle. Here we go. Can we take a picture of this? Let's do it. Get in. Everybody get in. Everybody get in.
Here. Wow.
There we go. We love you guys. See you next week.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing? I didn't say that thing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool. I think we should use the one where Jamil doesn't say anything.